Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. How is everybody doing? Are we going to kick off September in the best way possible or in the worst way possible? That's the question. Are we going to change our momentum? Are we going to change this pattern of terrible results? Or are we going to continue sinking down in the deepest part of this ocean? This is a question which this game is going to resolve, because after the start of the season, after the first 3 game weeks, we can give a base judgment, we can give a little checkpoint on how the team has been playing, on how the transfer window signing have orientated themselves in the season, in the team, and just in general how the team itself and the chemistry of the team, if it's working or not. After 3 game weeks, we can answer quite a bit of questions, especially because unfortunately for us, we do have an international break coming up. I have no idea why there is an international break right now. I mean, why on earth are we interrupting club football again to see the terribleness of the Italian national team again? I have no idea. What games are even on? Surely it's not even the Nations League. It's just friendly games. Pointless international break. But we can start giving some judgments. Let's speak about the game. Very tough game. Juventus look really good with Thiago Motta's footprint. On the other hand, I got no expectations on this game. Like, I'm being very serious. I don't know what to expect coming into this game. I feel like the fact that already that we never win at the Juventus Stadium is scary. The fact that we have such a bad record in this ground, and that the last time we won in this ground, in fact, the only time that we won in the Juventus Stadium, in the new Juventus Stadium, was that time when Juventus-Roma was like the last game of the season with Ronaldo at Juventus, and they had already won the league, and they basically started their C team, and Zaniolo, I remember, scored a goal. That is the only time we won a game in the what's so-called Juventus Stadium, Allianz Stadium. Seeing the way we've been playing in these first game weeks, this is not good. Because I don't know what it is, but it feels like every time we play there, we get scared. It feels like every time we step up in that ground, we hide ourselves, and I don't know, it's psychological. It's a psychological thing. I was there last year, 31st of December, Juventus-Roma away, Allegri ball against Mourinho ball. I was going to just tear my ankles apart at a certain stage. Juventus won with a lucky 1-0 win, Rabiot. It was so cold, I remember, and it was so boring. Now, however, it's going to be a very different game, because Thiago Motta is Juventus' new manager and De Rossi is Roma's new manager. So there is definitely going to be a new story to this game. Whether this is going to be a good story for us or a bad story, we'll know tomorrow evening. But, the first thing which I'll say is I am definitely a bit worried as to what might happen tomorrow evening, because Juventus started the season with a massive sprint, and we started the season with a massive back sprint. And when you compare these two things, you really do need a miracle to win tomorrow. I am not expecting Roma to win tomorrow at all. I'm expecting to lose. I'm expecting to lose 1-0, 2-0. Unfortunately, that's my prediction for tomorrow's game. A draw tomorrow would be golden. A draw tomorrow would be absolutely golden. A win would be miraculous, but to think about a win, unfortunately, it's a bit unrealistic. But you never know. We have to give it our best, and we have to try and get something, because another thing is, the games at the start of the season are always very unpredictable. Yes, Juventus look better, and yes, Juventus are better on paper, and yes, Juventus have got 4 points, first top of the league, won both of their games. But I say from game week 1 to game week 8, everything is unpredictable. It's very still hard to predict things. So we'll see if that can help. But yeah, Juventus Roma tomorrow. Let's speak about the game. If you haven't already in the meantime, please do hit the like button down below. If everybody in the stream can take 2 seconds to hit the like, it would massively support the video and the channel. And you never know, it might bring us to win the game. Yeah? Do you trust it? Well, might as well click it. Doesn't cost anything. So yeah, also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Right, I'm going to start speaking and sharing a few words on Juventus, and then we'll move on to us, Predicted 11, and all of that. Hello to Nitsan, hello to Roma, hello to Claudio, Giulio, Giovanni. Greetings from Bolivia, greetings to you, mate. Yeah. My cousin just came back from Bolivia, if you want to know. Yeah, if you're interested. Right, Juventus. Juventus look really, really good. I think the one thing that has surprised me the most out of these 2 game weeks from Juventus is the fluidity. Now, yes, they were playing against Como and Verona, but so many of the other Serie teams as well, including us, had easy games. And they dealt with these easy games, winning 3-0 against Como and 3-0 against Verona. That is solid. That is what I call a solid start, and that is what I call a confident team, a very fluid team. Juventus, adding on to this, I think out of all the teams, had the best summer transfer window. I think they added so much quality to their team that I would go as far to say that they could really genuinely compete for the league title this season. I still think Inter have something a bit more than them. I don't know what it is. It's not necessarily quality, but it's just, I think Inter have got more confidence. Inter or a mechanism which kicked start last year. So, and they didn't add a lot of players. Inter's starting 11 is exactly the same as last year. So they know how to play and all of this. So I do still think Inter are the favourites to win the league. But Juventus could really pull it out. I mean, the league title this season is 100% between Juventus and Inter. They've added a lot of quality. They've added so much quality that it actually scares us, the squad depth that they've built. They've added Conceição from Porto, kid from Porto, great signing. Cup Miners, incredible signing after a massive delay with Atalanta. Kefrem Turam. They were brave to make some brave decisions, like selling Chiesa, yeah, Chiesa, was last season's best player for Juventus, but they decided to put him out of the project. They decided to try something new, also linking with their next gen under 23 team. Thiago Motta is a manager who is not scared of making wrong decisions. He started with, what's his name, Mambula in game week 1, and he scored in the first game. He started with another young star in the game against Verona, and he scored again. Juventus are a very, very, very good built side. From the next gen to the organization to the manager's decision, Thiago Motta is a really good manager. It doesn't take a wonder season from Bologna to understand that Thiago Motta is a great manager. Thiago Motta is a very good manager, knows how to play, has got great tactics. And, the way he decides and his decision making is really brave. And I really admire that in a manager. So, they do have quality that they've had in the team for the past seasons. But unfortunately, with Allegri, it never kicked started. Vlahovic, I think if you put quality players behind Vlahovic and a manager who actually knows how to start and play Vlahovic on that pitch, I think Vlahovic can be a deadly striker, and he scored in the 2 starting game weeks of the season. So yeah, I look at Juventus as a massive upgrade from the team that they had last year, from the quality that they added to the confidence that has been implanted in them from Thiago Motta. I really think that you really need a miracle tomorrow to even get a draw. But we'll see what happens. So that's when it comes to Juventus, And the other thing about Juventus, which makes it very hard for us to prepare a game against them, is just this fact of Thiago Motta being so unpredictable. Thiago Motta being extremely unpredictable in his decisions. That he's so unpredictable that it makes it so hard to prepare a game against them, because like he could start a next gen under 23 player instead of Vlahovic, and that guy could end up scoring and being the man of the match. And you just don't expect these kind of changes, erratic changes in decisions. And the other thing, and then I'll wrap it up on the Juventus side, is that I think what's going to win Juventus the game tomorrow is legs. Legs which run. Legs which can collect balls and ultimately absolutely destroy your midfield. Because unfortunately, nowadays in football, in modern football, the midfield is where you win a game. It's that. The midfield is where you win a game. So, unfortunately, Manu Kone, I am not expecting starting tomorrow because he literally landed in Rome yesterday. So you're basically presenting yourself with Pellegrini, Paredes, Cristante against Kefrem Turam, potentially cup minors, Mbangula, who has proved to be really good, Yildiz, who's exceptionally fast, Vlahovic, who's also exceptionally fast. Unfortunately, the unbalance tomorrow is going to be in the middle. We are going to see Juventus player absolutely threaten our midfielders and ultimately our defenders because they move the ball so fast. And a lot of our players don't have the rhythms to play against teams like Juventus. So, again, we'll see what happens, but I'm not expecting something good tomorrow. Right, let's speak about us. New signings, a lot of new signings on deadline day. The only signing that I can expect and wouldn't be surprised if he starts tomorrow is Saelemaekers. Reason being, he's had a good preseason with Milan, and he hasn't been, he's had the preseason with Milan, and he's had a preseason with an Italian team. Italian football, very tactical. Italian teams very similar on the way they want to display their attacks and their systems. So the only player which we bought yesterday, which I could expect in tomorrow's starting 11, is Saelemaekers to add speed. But again, is speed what we need in tomorrow's game? Is speed what we need in tomorrow's game? Or is kind of, how can I describe this, depth that we want in tomorrow's game? Because of course, if you want speed, you can't have depth. If you want to play with wingers, of course, you're gonna leave spaces, you're gonna leave gaps, and Juventus are fast, Juventus are playing at home, and Juventus will know how to threaten your gaps and how to attack your spaces and gaps. If you don't play with wingers and you play with a 3-5-2, for example, or even with two players behind Dovbyk, but very close to each other instead of wide, you close the gaps, it's more concentrated, and you kind of tend to close their ideas and their creativity. I don't know what we want to do. Of course, it also depends on, do we want to go all in and try and win tomorrow's game? Do we want to kind of, in a way, go back to Mourinho's ideas and park the bus and, aim for a draw? I don't know. I'm not the manager. There are a lot of ways that we could tackle tomorrow's game, but of course, if you're confused, if you've got a lot of different confusionary thoughts in your mind, you're going to end up bottling it. That's the truth. We need to have a game plan, and we need to stick with that game plan from the first minute to the 90th minute. And we need to have the ability to change this game plan inside the game if we want to have a chance of changing the way we play, depending on how the game goes on. So with that, my predicted 11 is this. I'm going to leave it on the screen for 3 seconds, and in the meantime, I'll read a few comments. Manu Kone, the best youngster midfielder right now in Europe. Bro, he has a lot of skills in dribbling. Definitely not the best youngster midfielder in Europe right now. Let's not overhype ourselves. We don't have a centre-back. We are going to lose against Juventus. You mean a centre-mid? I mean, we do have centre-backs. Hello, Giulio. Tomorrow's going to be ugly. Never mind, we're 17th as of now, one spot away from relegation. But again, table is not what you look at right now. You know, the table isn't what you look at right now. You look at the table starting from January, from August, September, October, November, even December, I'd add. I could not care less about the table. Yes, the table says that we might be in a relegation zone. Are we going to be in a relegation zone in May? No, we're not. So it's not the table that you got to look at right now. What you got to look at right now is, I feel like a season has various checkpoints. You know, a season, over the course of a season, there are many different checkpoints, which is where we could ultimately start building judgments and opinions. The first checkpoint of the season is after tomorrow's game. After 3 game weeks, you've had enough time to at least display your ideas against weak sides and strong sides. An international break is coming up. The transfer window is done. After tomorrow's game, it's the first checkpoint to look back and go, that's not been good, that's been shit, that's been good, he's been great, he's been bad, he's been terrible. You know, table is not what should worry us right now. What should worry us right now is, as always, learning from the Empoli game and thus from the Cagliari game. What did we get wrong in that game? How can I improve that mistake? But also hiring the obstacle because you're playing against a better team. It's about finding your mechanism. Right now, it's about finding your mechanism, finding your starting 11, because, you know, we will see a lot of different starting 11 starting in the first game weeks of the season. Which one do we want to start with? What's the correct formation? We're going to rotate a lot. We need to understand what identity we want. That's the number one problem. Because as of now, we don't have an identity. We don't have an identity because nobody here has a clue of what they're doing. And that, therefore, can't mean that you have an identity. Because, first of all, Sule and Dybala, as much as it's great and they link up really well, Sule and Dybala cannot start together. Dovbyk needs support. Cristante, Pellegrini doesn't work out. You know, these are already elements, which you can incorporate in your identity. Çelik, is he good? Or is Saud Abdulhamid or even Buba Sangare a better option? It's about understanding and answering these questions. We need a proper midfield, otherwise we will suffer both on defence and attacking. Didier was grateful for the interim after sacking Mourinho, but I agree he's not a big club coach yet, and our club is suffering from an inexperienced manager. But if we don't give time to managers, people need to understand that if you don't give time to a manager, you will never grow. And I've repeated this so many times, I'm not going to repeat it again. You could sack him. Who do you put in? And we're back where we started again. So it's really like, let's be patient. Let's be patient for the love of God. Right, starting 11. Svilar in goal. Angelino and Çelik on the 2 flanks. Saud isn't ready. Didier said it today in his press conference. Buba is very inexperienced for this game, so unfortunately Çelik has to start. Mancini and Ndika in the middle. Adanso would have been perfect in this game, but we all know what happened. Mancini and Ndika have to start. Smalling is 1 step away from joining Saudi, so he will definitely not have any minutes in this game. Yeah, look, the middle is the problem. Like, you know, the middle is our problem. That midfield, unfortunately, gives me no hope against a team like Juventus. Cristante, Paredes, Pellegrini. Kone could start, but again, starting Kone less than 24 hours after he arrived. Okay, we need new solutions, but it's really like it's too much of a risk. And I do not want to see Cristante on the pitch, but at the same time I also don't want to throw Kone in the middle just because 24 hours after he arrived. You know, that in my opinion is the synonym of, unfortunately, I am very, very, very confused on what I'm doing. Let me throw Kone in the midst. Hopefully he does something. So, unfortunately, Pellegrini, Paredes and Cristante will have to start. Lafia is injured. Lafi is injured and will be back after the international break. El Shaarawy and Dybala behind Dovbyk, and then Dovbyk up front. Soulé. Where is Soulé? Soulé and Dybala can start together. So either Dybala starts or Soulé starts. It's as simple as that. Soulé and Dybala, as much as it was so interesting to have both of them together in pre-season, cannot start together. They are the same exact player in terms of how they want to play, and therefore it means that they both step on their own feet for 90 minutes. No, Soulé and Dybala, I would actually argue that starting both Soulé and Dybala was one of the reasons why we didn't win against Empoli, because you've got two players who want to play in the same position. So they kind of steal balls from each other and they step on each other's feet. So Soulé and Dybala can start together. I think Dybala's going to start, but Soulé is going to come in. El Shaarawy on the left. El Shaarawy isn't ready according to De Rossi, but then why did he get a few minutes against Cagliari? If he isn't ready, I could expect Salamakers coming in and then Dovbyk up front, who needs service and needs support. He needs service and he needs support. Like, absolutely. Because he has been bad in game week 1 and game week 2 because he got no... he got no service whatsoever. Another element here is Baldanzi. I want to see Baldanzi tomorrow, but Juventus are a very physical team. I would love to see Baldanzi in the middle tomorrow. I would love to see him on the pitch. I would love to, and I would give a clap to De Rossi if he puts Baldanzi in instead of one of these players in the middle, because at least he's got legs, he's got agility, he can move fast. But again, this is what I think will happen, and I don't think it is going to happen. But I would be very happy if he does start, because he absolutely deserves it. Motta is not afraid of sacrificing the sacred cows in any team. That would have been great for Roma. I would start Baldanzi over Paredes, who is currently not fit to play. It could happen, again. I would do it, but I wouldn't do it instead of Paredes. I would do it instead of Cristante. But this is what I think is going to happen, and I don't think it is going to happen. Devo ricordarmi di dire ai camerieri della pizzeria di domani sera. You live in Cuckooland if you think DDR would succeed at Roma. That's a typical comment of a mad Mourinho fan who is still here trying to make us understand that, Mourinho was bigger than Roma, but mate, he's at Fenerbahce, go to Turkey. We don't need these fans in our team anymore. Lafi needs to start, says Claudio, with 2 more signings before... Lafi's injured, mate. With 2 more signings before window transfer shut off, Roma would win tomorrow, or at least draw. Roma must win tomorrow. Roma must win tomorrow, but I am gonna be incredibly surprised if we win tomorrow. Maybe Baldanzi in the mix indeed. Baldanzi is on fire, says Eza. After all the signings, you still put Zelik, starting Zelik. Saud isn't ready, De Rossi said it in the press conference, and Buba is too young for these games. I think you're forced to start with Celik. I would not have started with Celik, but it's the reason, a transfer window on that right back position has been very bad, and this is the result. Insisting with Celik, but unfortunately understanding that Celik isn't good enough. Celik needs to start tomorrow because Abdulhamid is not ready. Hopefully Hermoso and Hummus do come. Yes, Giulio. Right, I'm going to catch you tomorrow with a match reaction. Don't forget to hit the like down below. Please do it if you haven't already. Takes 2 seconds and it supports the channel a lot. So everybody in the stream, before leaving, please do hit the like down below. Hit the like, subscribe, and let me know your predictions in the comments down below. I'll talk to you soon. Simo out.